what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video was actually supposed to be a YouTube short. I just wanted to show you how I resurface PlayStation 1 games that have the black backs. But I just couldn't make it happen inside that small window, so I decided I'll just make a video so I can actually like kind of talk about what I'm doing. First, we'll go over the stuff I have here, or maybe first you should look at the disc. Now, hopefully you guys can see that. It's kind of hard to make it work, but hopefully you can see it. But it's in pretty bad shape. So we're going to try to bring this one back. And if you're wondering what the game is, it's Chrono Cross Disc 1 for the original PlayStation. We'll set that right there. Can't make it any worse, right? But what we want to do is we're going to walk it up step by step all the way to our finishing pad. But we're going to start with our coarse sanding paper, which is actually a 600 grit sanding paper. Uh, and then we're going to walk it up to our 1200 grit, which is right here. Usually the 600, I write a C on it because it's coarse. And for the 1200, I write a S that for some reason looks like a 5. Uh, and just to let me know which one it is, because you will forget over time which one it is. And then this right here is our bare foam polishing pad. It's kind of like a step below this pad right here, which is our bare foam finishing pad. So basically we're going to start with the coarse. We're going to do 10 seconds. We're going to wipe the disc off, and then we're going to go up to the soft or the 1200 grit. We're going to do another 10 seconds. We're going to wipe the disc off, and then we're going to jump to our yellow one, and it's going to be a minute. And then we're going to go to our finishing pad, which is our white pad, and we're going to do a minute. And that should bring the disc around. It's a pretty rough disc, so it may not be 100%, but what I'm looking to get is like a strong 90 to a 95. Now, the products we're going to use with the coarse and with the soft sanding paper, or the 600 and 1200, the only thing we're going to be using is, I forgot to bring it over here, but just our bottle of water. We're just going to basically spray these down, because these pads you can either dry or wet sand. Now, with JFJ, their instructions do not recommend you wet sand, and I'll let you know right now, you never listen to their instructions. You actually want to make sure you wet sand with these. The reason being is that the water is what stops the heat from building up. I don't know if anyone out there has ever cut through like cement or anything like that. Like, a lot of times you'll see them using a wheel, and they'll have like a trickle of water that just constantly gets on the blade. And that's what that's for. Also, it diminishes, it helps with dust, but that's not the point. Anyway, it keeps these cool, or it helps keeps them cool. So when you're doing dry sanding, heat is going to build up extremely fast, and heat is the number one enemy to these discs, and a quick way to ruin them and warp them. So basically, it's just going to be water with these two. We're going to spray it down liberally. We're only going to do 10 seconds. We don't want to do any more than 10 at a time. But we're going to spray it down really good, make sure it's nice and wet. That way we don't ruin the disc by building up too much heat. Now, once we jump up to our yellow pad, I also use a green pad, which is more of a buffing pad. Could possibly try to use that one, but I think maybe I could get away with the Bayer pad, with the Bayer polishing pad, the yellow one. And that is going to be used with our 105 Meguiar's Ultra Cut Compound. You can see that it's a heavy cut. So basically, we want to make sure we have a good cut when we're buffing. And then we're going to jump over to our white finishing pad, which is basically the lightest cut we can do. And we want to finish it off with our Meguiar's 205 Ultra Finishing Polish, which, as you can see, is closer to the light cut on the scale. It's about a 4. And that should be our last step. We're going to be using just this Laser Media Professional CD and DVD cleaner, just to get off the residuals of the Ultra Cut Compound and the Ultra Finishing Polish. Now, I may only use it after the polish, but it just helps like lift it up off the disc. You don't have to use this. I just use it. Uh, and the cloth we're going to be using is just a blue microfiber towel, super soft, to try to stop any scratches from getting on this already extremely scratched up disc. So we're going to jump in and let's start going through the process and see what we get at the end of this. All right, so like I said, we're going to start with our course paper. Just going to stick that down in there. Then we want to grab our disc, which is our Chrono Cross Disc 1. See if you can kind of see the condition maybe a little better here. Kind of hard. These black discs are like so reflective, it's hard to show you just like the actual condition of it. Hopefully you can kind of see. You can't see a lot of the light scratches though, but there's like tons of light scratches on this disc. Maybe you got a little good angle right there, kinda. Very hard. But anyway, we're gonna throw this up here. We're gonna put it on our little microfiber cloth gasket I make to help this little retaining nut not damage the inside of the disc. We're gonna stick that on there. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our just regular water, nothing special about it, and we are just going to spray this down nice and good. Boom. Get low on the disc. Boom. Okay. Sorry, I kind of have a little cold, but we're just gonna put this down, and then we're gonna do 10 seconds. All right, we'll lift this up. We are going to go ahead and take our disc off here. Take this off. What we're gonna do is we just want to wipe the disc down. So I'm just gonna take that. I'll try to wipe off a little bit of the residual here. Okay. Set our disc back on there. Put the gasket back. Put back on our retaining nut. Take off our coarse pad. We're going to swap it out with our soft pad, which is the 1200 grit. Same thing. Spray it down good with water. Nice and liberal. Because we don't want the disc getting hot. Put that down. Do another 10 seconds. All right. Bring that up. Take that off. Take our cloth again. Just wipe off any residuals. Okay. And now we will stick it back because we're going to get ready to jump into our buffing stage, which we're going to use again, we're going to use the yellow Bayer pad, which is the polishing pad. It's a step right above the yellow pad. I mean, right above the white pad. If you wanted to go a little harsher, you could jump up to a green pad. I actually don't have the green pad over here. Give me 1 second. I'll grab the green pad. So this right here will be our green pad. You can see it's actually the foam buffing pad. It might actually end up working better if we use the foam buffing pad instead of the polishing pad. But we're going to see what happens with the polishing pad. Anyway, let's grab off our soft one right here. Now we're going to go with the yellow one, just the foam buffing pad or foam polishing pad. That on there like so. Same thing, you want to make sure you give it a nice good amount of water, especially since I haven't used this pad much today. We're going to bring in our Meguiar's 105 Ultra Cut compound. Now, I usually like to make a good circle with this stuff. I'm a little more heavy-handed with it. You don't have to be this heavy-handed. We bring in our JFJ polishing compound, not to actually put any on, but just to smear the Meguiar's around. I like to smear it around and kind of try to cover the pad as best I can. I'm going to spray a little bit more water. And we'll bring this down. We're going to do this for 1 minute. All right. It's done. Lift that up. Take off our little pad. Take that up. And take our blue pad. I just want to get that up off of there. Okay. Now we'll stick it back on there. put the little gasket back on. I need to make another one of these. Sorry, I accidentally bumped the camera there. Okay. We'll take our yellow, let's see, take our yellow pad off. Yeah, got some gunk on it. And now we'll bring in our white foam polishing pad or finishing pad. I need another one of these. This one has definitely seen better days. But take our water again, spray it down nice and good. And now we're going to bring on our Meguiar's 205, which is the ultra finishing polish. Bring in our JFJ. Make it do the good work of spreading everything around. Boom. Spray it down a little bit. Again, the water is really just to help dissipate the heat. We don't want any heat buildup. Push that down. We're going to do this for a minute. All right, minute's up. Take this out. And, oh, come on off there. Well, you can see some of the stuff starts to leak in there when the pad starts to get a little low. That's the only bad part about that. But, well, wipe this pad. I mean, wipe this pad. Wipe this disc off. Try to get the majority of that stuff off. Let's see. And this is what I mean by, you can spray a little bit of this laser media here. This helps lift a lot of that off easy. Want to find a better space on our cloth. Go. Flip it over. And get off any of the residuals on the front here. Sometimes it can sneak around, like I said, especially when the pad starts to get low, because you notice it didn't happen when we were using the yellow pad. Find a clean spot on this blue towel. All right. So you can see, turned out really good. All right, but most important thing is we got to make sure that it works. So let's go on over to our PlayStation 1 and see what happens. Okay, so kind of lied. First, excuse the table. This is like my test area. Right now we're working on this PS3 that we finished reformatting and getting ready. But this is a PS3 Super Slim, and I figured that I would just play it on this since one, I already have it hooked up, and two, it might be a good opportunity to give a little game fact, I guess. But especially with the fat PS3s, the original OG ones, like going through the roof in price because they're backwards compatible. What some people may not be aware of is that every PlayStation 3 console is backwards compatible with the original PlayStation games. They'll play any of them. Now, they will not play anyone after the OG Fat 60 and 20 and the original 80 gig will not play PS2 games because the 60 and 20 actually had the PS2 chip in it. I forgot what it's called, the real engine or something. I forgot what it's called, but they had the chip in them. The 80 gig actually did software emulation to play your PS2 games. When they went to the PS3 Slim and originally after that the Super Slim right here, they took away the PS2 software emulation completely, which made it lose the ability to play PS2 games. But you can still play PS1 games. So if you are somebody who just has a bunch of PS1 games and you needed a cheap PS3 to play them because maybe you don't have a PS1 or you just don't want one, or maybe you have PS3 and PS1 games you want to play and you want to have one, everything in one system, just get you one of these or get you a PS3 Slim. A lot cheaper than a PS3 OG. But we'll take that off, put that in there, down. And these PS3 Super Slims are bulletproof. I've never got one that like was just done. But see, it's reading up there. We'll wait, see what happens. It's making its noise. That's always a good thing. And boom, PlayStation format disc. So we'll go ahead and play that. It says the save data. You got to create an internal memory card on the system storage. We're not going to do that because after I put all this back together and replace these panels, this is going to be sold. So I don't want to create any save data on this. I've already reformatted it. I don't need to reformat it again. But yeah, so that just shows you, I mean, the thing can definitely bring back discs. And even after the sanding and all that process, as long as you follow the steps and you use the water and make sure that you don't let the heat build up, they'll play perfectly fine. So we'll wait for this one to start on up. It's always crazy playing these older consoles because they like make so much more noise. Well, I guess the PS5 makes a lot of noise too, but yeah, the game's gonna look horrible on this TV. But yeah, there it is, Chrono Cross. Yay! Just as you remember it. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope it helps you guys. I will say that if you follow the steps and the disc does not come out in an amazing shape, or it doesn't come out the way you wanted it to, you're just going to have to kind of keep at it. It's weird because you can, like, I've done a lot of these discs. I've resurfaced a ton of discs with that machine. And even though you can show the steps, sometimes I don't know what it is, but just that experience of just kind of seeing what a disc needs just because you've done so many, that does come into play. Like, you may not have to go from coarse to soft to buffing to polishing pad. You may not have to go that deep on the disc. You may be able to just polish it out. You may be able to just go to a buffing and then a polishing. You'll have to figure out what works for you, but any disc you can start at the end, which is coarse, or the very beginning, which is coarse, go to soft, go to buffing, and then go to finishing or polishing, depending on what pads you're using. You could do that with any disc as long as you use water. Just make sure that you don't run it too long. If you're going to do sanding, never do more than 10 seconds at a time. And if you're going to do the regular pads for buffing or polishing, never do more than 1 minute at a time, because the heat is really what ends up destroying the discs. That's just the number one thing you want to avoid. So I hope you guys, vibrating function. Yay. Why did I do that? But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that it works out for you and you're able to bring back your PlayStation 1 games. I do have some Milwaukee pads coming. They're a little more expensive than the Bayer pads, but I'm hoping I don't have to cut them down. Once I get those in, they should actually be here on Thursday. And once they come in, I'm going to do a video and kind of see how they work as well. But as always, thanks you for the support, and catch you guys on the next one. Peace.